What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode of Struggle Today, Equip Tomorrow, which is a podcast where we speak about everything and anything that we struggle with and try to find ways to deal with it, or just accept the way things are. So today, I'm not alone. I have a wonderful guest, but I'll introduce her in just a bit, or she'll introduce herself. Before that, I just want to say thank you for showing us love on the podcast platforms that you guys have been listening from. We really appreciate it. I am in disbelief that we are at the stage now that we're on YouTube, so exciting. So today we're going to speak about a very intense topic. We'll get into that after our beautiful guest introduces herself.
I don't actually have a lot to say about myself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through one of those phases where I'm just redefining a lot. And but in any case, my name is Tsakani. I go by TK to a lot of the people who are very, very close to me. Yeah. So that name is reserved. You know what I'm saying?
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. It's not for everyone. But yeah, I'm Tsakani and I'm from Joburg, born and raised. And interesting fun fact is that I really like ice cream. Yeah. Guys, ice cream.
Any flavor?
Vanilla. It has to be plain vanilla. It can't be anything else, like literally. And if you get, those tub ice creams with like the strawberry chocolate in one and there's vanilla, I'll just dig out. I'll just dig out the vanilla because it's like, why are we doing this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, so.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we're just going to do a bit of an icebreaker. Just silly questions, to get you comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are top 3 things that are on your bucket list right now?
Top 3 things on my bucket list. Whoa. In life when you're just trying to survive, you're not thinking of a bucket to like full. Yeah. But I would say top 3 things on my bucket list. It's not necessarily tangible things, but I'm in a space where I'm trying to get to a point where I'm healing or healed, because I am in that process right now. Wow. And I want to get to a place where I feel peace, despite whatever circumstance I'm facing. Just get to that point. And another thing is, it was on my bucket list, but I don't think it is anymore. But I'm at a point where I thoroughly enjoy myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy with myself. You know what I'm saying? There are times when you would just, or rather I would just always feel like, I'm not enough, or this and that, or just, and that just caused a lot of issues for me in terms of how I related with people and things like that. Because I think the biggest relationship you have is with yourself.
Beautiful.
And if what you have with yourself is not good, it filters into everything else. So I'm at a point where I'm happy that I don't need to depend on anyone else's opinion about me, and I'm really grateful for that. So it was on my bucket list, but at least it's something I've ticked off. Yeah.
Oh, wow, you're so deep. I thought you were going to say going to the USA.
I'd love to actually. I'm not a USA person. I don't want to get gunned down or anything like that. Yeah. I do want to go to Greece though, Mykonos. I'm so obsessed with that place.
It's gorgeous.
Those clear blue waters. That I think, maybe we could say that's on my bucket list. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then, would you say you're a sweet or savory person?
Funny enough, although I love ice cream, I'm a savory person. I don't understand how you guys do candy and all these things, but I thoroughly enjoy savory food. I can't look at my teeth. I've never struck my dentist and I in a very good relationship because we don't do candies. So I think I'm a very savory person, despite the ice cream.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And a Netflix show that you could binge on forever.
Oh, sadly, it's no longer on Netflix. So it was The Office.
It's no longer there.
It's no longer there. I was like, like I was distraught when they took it off. So now I'm just going with the flow. I've recently been watching The Let Down. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's this lady who's just going through a lot after having a child, and there's just a lot she's learning, and I'm just like, oh wow. I can wait.
That's beautiful. Sure. Wow. Okay, early bird or night owl?
Definitely not an early bird. You know this.
No, the people must know. I know.
You know this. I will snooze an alarm. Like, listen, I will snooze.
I'll be like, TK, it's time to go to church.
Yeah. I remember I used to sleep over a lot here. And Mpo would switch off my alarm for me. Because I would have snoozed it that many times. Yeah, wow. So definitely not an early bird. I'm not a night owl either, but
you're just a day person.
I don't see myself. Sleep and I have we have a really personal relationship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I enjoy my sleep.
It's very therapeutic.
God says that He gives sleep to those He loves.
Come on.
And I'm definitely sure I'm loved.
We love it for you.
I'm definitely sure. Yeah.
Okay. What's the first thing you'd buy if you won the lottery?
Yo! What's the first thing I would buy if I won the lottery? I think that would have to be a G63 AMG Brabus edition. Please, I beg, please, yo. Yeah, no, it would have to be that car. Yeah. And I'd probably fill a petrol card, fill that card up with gang money so that I'm always on the road.
Yeah, just on the road.
I wouldn't even care for a house or anything. I literally just let's just go.
Doesn't matter if you sleep in that car.
Listen, I'm happy in that car.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Would you rather never have Wi-Fi or never have your phone?
That was an interesting question, because I was like, okay, what do I do with the phone if I don't have Wi-Fi, and what do I do with the Wi-Fi if I don't have the phone? Yeah. But considering that we are in the stage where we have smart TVs and all these things, I think I'd rather have Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. And then, best advice you've ever received?
Whoa, actually, I went on a hike, right?
Yeah.
And I met this lovely lady, at the peak of the mountain. I was just going through the motions, thinking I was alone up there. And she's like, bro, what's happening? And she just went in on me and just, she was just really a very delightful person. But in any case, I digress. She said that, you know what? In any place you find yourself in any environment you ever find yourself in, you are not being challenged by the environment. Yeah. You are being challenged by the triggers that environment has.
Whoa.
So there will never be an environment where basically what she was saying was there's no such thing as a toxic environment.
Yeah.
It's just you and your triggers.
Yeah.
And whatever you walk into, you need to have that level head. And that's why it's important to work on yourself and, work on those triggers so that in every environment, you know how to respond to different triggers. So there's no such thing as a toxic environment, guys. Well, based on that advice, to each their own. Yeah. But I definitely, after that advice, I was like, okay, great.
Do you think you know your triggers?
Man. We'll sit here all day if I were to list them, but I definitely know my triggers.
That's good.
And a lot of that I think we'll speak about as the conversation progresses. But definitely I am aware of the triggers, and I'm working on learning how to respond to them. Some things I have perfected, but I am a work in progress, so we're still working on on the
that's
others.
Really beautiful. So if you were stuck on an island and had to choose one thing to take with, or it can be even a person, what would it be?
My question is, why would I be on an island, Kachi? Why am I on an island? These are, Caucasian things. When we are just, you know what I'm saying? But why would I? Okay. But if I were to be stuck on an island, one item or one person.
Yeah.
Am I alone on that island? Or is I'm the only one.
Yes. You can't make new friends.
Yeah. I wanted to say something cheesy like the Bible or God or whatever. But I'm realizing, okay, we have the Holy Spirit with us everywhere, right?
Yeah.
If I were to be stuck on the island, there's no need for a phone because, I mean, I'd actually just be at peace being there. I think right now in the current state I'm in, I'd be at peace just being at that island with nothing but myself, chilling, living life. But I think I need to find something, right? For the viewers and the listeners.
For the vibes.
For the vibes. Whoa. I'm genuinely not attached to things, hey? And surprisingly, I know it's going to sound bad, but I'm not attached to people as well.
You're so deep.
I'm sorry. I'm just not attached. Like, I'm not that attached to, like, you know, it's something I've been learning to grow out of, like, finding my individuality and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what it would be. Like, it would have to be something that would, because... Okay, so I'm not afraid of the dark. I just don't like the dark.
Yeah.
So it would definitely be a torch or some some bright thing, so that at night at least, you know, we are kanya. I don't want situations where
that's actually very smart because
and then you just have a lot of situations at night. Bats are flying over. I don't know what happens on islands, but yeah.
And then the last one before we get into the topic, would you rather know how you're gonna die or when you're gonna die?
I think knowing how you're gonna die, if it's not a nice way to die, you're just not gonna look forward to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But knowing when you're gonna die, I think that's better, because if I know the day, then I'll just stay indoors all day and hopefully die peacefully in my sleep. And I don't have to be worried every single day I step out of the house. The anxiety of just knowing how you're going to die. And then it's just, so I'd rather just know when. Yeah.
No, I get it. Same. Okay, so today, guys, we're going to be speaking about cancel culture. Yo! It's very deep, this one. And I think we're going to share our experience as well. Believe it or not, we went through a lot. This friendship went through a lot. So, I was doing a bit of research and I saw that, like, on the internet, it started with, like, celebrities. Where if, like, you do something inappropriate that is not deemed good by society, then they'll just, as a group, say, we're no longer supporting your music or things like that. But now we're starting to see it on one-on-one relationships where, like, if I feel like, hi, you're not there for me as a friend, then I'm like, bye-bye. Cut you up.
Snip.
Yeah. So how would you define, what does it mean to you, cancel culture?
I think the way you described it, like, as I was also, like, looking it up and stuff, I realized the pure definition of it is just basically people ostracizing people just because they didn't do something or meet a certain standard, or even if they did something that would, you know, solicit that people are mad at them and it's genuine, it's like, now we need to hold you accountable, then those people would sort of get, like, ostracized, you know. Like, we look at R. Kelly and we see how he's been treated ever since the whole scandal came up, and some people have genuinely cancelled him, like, no one's listening to his music and things like that, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like I don't want to say it's a gray area, but I think it's an area where a lot of us need to learn the extension of grace, you know. And I think it's important, especially as the Christian body, for us to look at this in a very biblical way, you know, because every time we do things and those things are influenced by something outside of the word of God, it just turns out to be something that it wasn't supposed to be. And for me, when I was, like, going through it and stuff, and what I was thinking of was, you know, even the Bible advises that, you know, when you have beef with someone or something like that, you speak to them, and if they don't, like, listen or take in what you have to say, then that's when you involve the church, you involve your Christian brothers and sisters to come along with you and be like, bro, I spoke to you, but like now I'm bringing in other parties so that, we can reinforce the situation and how I'm feeling. And then after, if that person doesn't listen, that's when we are then advised to be like, you know what, it's okay. You don't want to change. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not a bad thing to have boundaries. In fact, I think boundaries are important for the sustenance of a relationship so that the relationship can continue. It's a way to ensure that the relationship is fulfilling and it's good and it's thriving, right? Because once those boundaries are continually crossed, you'll never be happy in that relationship. So,
for sure.
In that sense, I think then it would. I don't even want to deem it cancel culture because we've moved away from what it was meant to be biblically. Like the world really finds a way to pervert things and make them take them to extremes.
Yes.
So that's just what I know, like in terms of like background on cancel culture and my stance. And I think defining it like in a worldly sense would just be that you basically like Google say, you just exclude people and you put them out, and just because
show no mercy.
Show no bruh, cutthroat. Like we're not cold as ice. We're not playing games. So I think that's like just the premise of cancel culture. I don't think I've done a good job to define it.
I think it's beautiful. Makes so much sense. And just to follow up, like, what do you think cancel culture has? What impact do you think it has on that person, especially if it's a group of people, like canceling that? Especially we see it in churches as well.
Girl, I was kicked out of church. I was kicked out of church. Did I tell you the story?
Yes. Yeah. So if you can just share how that impacted you as a person, just a group of people just saying, "Hi, bye."
Yeah, I think for me, it's I'm gonna have to give you guys a lot of context, especially for the church part. For me, it was like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? You didn't have a conversation with me. You didn't talk to me. You just, give a WhatsApp group how Tsakani has been kicked out.
Been removed.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was just I don't think I was angry. I was just or offended or anything. I was just disappointed in the fact that I was never allowed the opportunity to receive grace. No one extended the grace to me to say, okay, this is where you offended me. This is where you offended me. You know I'm laughing, man. This is where you offended me, and because of this offense, this is how I feel. I was never afforded the opportunity to be accountable for whatever it is that they felt that I had done. I was never given the platform to actually work with that person to redeem the relationship, because I feel like it's a two-way street. You know what I'm saying? Like, in as much as you're canceling me, there's a certain thing that I must have done to you, right? But when I did it, I wasn't just doing it just because I wouldn't just go around hurting people's feelings. You know what I'm saying? It's not intentional, and I know there are people who intentionally hurt other people, but for me personally, it's not my brand. Like, I don't sway like that. So when I wasn't afforded the opportunity or the grace, to just have that redemption and redemptive moment, it was like, how at a church, like, really, guys, like at a church, so that affected me a lot, because I then started to look at God the same way. I was cheated by the church, and I just felt like, if your people can do this, then what can you do? So it left me asking myself a lot of questions, but from that, I think that, especially that experience, it gave me an opportunity to reestablish my relationship with God and to rebuild those things that, because if I'm being honest, I was relying on the church a lot, and I think I had replaced the voice of God with the voice of the prophet there. So it became it became problematic. It was like a Moses situation. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, maybe it's just best I just take time out and just reestablish myself in God and Christ. But Yeah, we're here now.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad. Hey, yeah, because it must have been an intense experience. I can't even imagine. Yeah, because you start thinking there's something wrong with you, especially if it's a group of people. You know, it's like, am I that bad?
And the thing is, in that context, you start thinking that you're not a good Christian. There's something wrong with you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So church hurt is like really real, guys, because it affects a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you don't want a situation where your relationship with God is impacted, because once that's impacted, everything else.
Yeah.
Everything
then
else
it's
follows. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, no. What do you think is the reason why people cancel other people?
I think we live in a broken world.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a very broken world, and people are broken. People are broken. We don't have we're too hurt to extend grace, because also some of us, it's because grace has never been extended to us. So we just feel like, you know what, if someone does something wrong to me, especially because we've experienced so much hurt in the past, if that, and I like this because we spoke about it earlier, is the triggers and things like that. If a person treats you in a way that it triggers you, instead of then addressing the problem, you dwell in that trigger and then take offense, and it causes like so much tension in you that you feel like you need to protect yourself from that person, and then you guard yourself and you build a wall to prevent yourself from experiencing a relationship with that person, or rather like redeeming the relationship. So because we're so broken and we're all just trying our best to protect ourselves from people who trigger us and remind us of our brokenness, we then put up those walls to try and protect ourselves. And that's why I think people cancel each other out, is because another thing, not canceling a person out, forces you to be accountable yourself. And being accountable requires that you also now have to work on those things and address those things and confront your brokenness. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's not the hardest thing to do. So it's easy if I just cancel you and then the trigger's gone and I pretend like I'm healed and I can move on.
That is so deep, eh? Drag me, ma'am. Wow. Okay, I think we can go into experience, you know.
Definitely.
Because what you're saying is so deep. Because I wanted to ask, have you been cancelled before? But you've answered that already.
Many times, many moons.
You've gone through it.
Listen, I was cancelled. I was also cancelled by yours truly.
Yes.
I was the cancelling. She was the canceller.
You guys, it was rough. Hey, I think 2022 was a lot.
Tell me about it.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And like I was aware that like you were going through a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm also going through a lot. So I'm trying to text this person. I'm trying to call this person, like getting no response. It was just a lot. Like to a point I was just like, you know what, 31 December 2022.
You put a date on it. Did you? Did you put a time on it? 12.
Yeah, I was like, girl. Yeah, I'm just gonna, remove you from my statuses. Like, you can't be seeing such personal things about me. But, there's a lot of times where I expected you to show up, but it just didn't happen. Right? And I think my mistake was just not having the conversation with you, because we've had like disagreements and we would speak. I'd be like, I don't like this. And then you'll explain why that happened, and then we reach an agreement. But this time around, I just left. I just ghosted you.
Can I ask why? What made you not want to address it? Like, the way we were just used to addressing things?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it was too painful.
Okay.
Like, I think, And I was just like, you should know that, like, if this is happening, then you must show up like this. Okay. Like, even if you can't come, like, physically, like, maybe a call or something. So I was just like, you should know. And I think that was my mistake. Like, you can't just expect people to know. And sometimes, like, someone is so deep in their own troubles that, like, it's so hard to
even be aware
of what the other person is going through. So it was a very tricky one. And also I was like, she's also going through a lot, you know, like there's like we have exams and there's all of these things that are happening all at once. And I don't want to add with another thing now on top, because I remember like earlier in the year I was like I'm gonna take a break from anything that relates to God. Because like we had a support group where you were like in like leading, you know, and I was like, I'm gonna take a break. So I think the other thing was I thought maybe you were angry that I decided to take a break, and so you're like, nah, you're no longer my friend. Yeah. So how did that, like, from your receiving end, when did you even notice? Because I think I did it like it was a long time ago.
When did you do it?
I think during 2022.
Are you serious?
Yes.
No, because I only noticed this year. Yeah. That's when we had our conversation, right?
Because I think a mutual friend of ours reposted.
Yeah, something. She reposted a status of yours, and I was like, oh. Oh. It's slapped this now. Yeah. I was like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
Bombastic
side eye.
So I found out this year.
Yeah.
And it was through the post that I saw from a mutual friend of ours. And I think in the moment I was like, oh, ouch, you know? And then I was like, okay, I'm hurt, you know? So I allowed myself to be hurt. And then when I realized, okay, I'm hurt, this person needs to know I'm hurt. And then I texted you.
You can't leave it.
I'm like, she must know. So I texted you. I'm like, bro. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously not in this tone, but I was like, yeah, you know, if it's something that you really want, obviously I can't force you back into my life or anything like that. So I have to respect that, but just know, Hore, nothing's changed on my side. Like, for me, I'll always love you. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it was, I'm glad I did that, you know? And in that moment, and I think another thing that really puts oil in the fire, like fuels to the fire of this cancel culture thing, is that people would rather fight to be right.
Sure.
People would rather fight to be right than fight for the relationship. Yeah. You know, people would rather fight each other than fight the situation. You know what I'm saying? So in that moment, I was like, okay, do I want to, you know, it's okay if the relationship goes, but do I want to let it go in this manner? And if there's a chance that the relationship can be restabilized, would I rather prefer to not have that relationship, or would I rather prefer to be right and be like, oh, screw her, she's decided her fate. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And in that moment I was just like, you know what, let go of your pride, girl. You know what I'm saying?
That is beautiful.
Let go of your pride, speak your piece, be respectful, obviously, and whatever comes out of it, just trust that it's just something that God is allowing. And it's, I think, more than anything, I didn't want to be in a situation where I was fighting to be right. Yeah.
Yo, that is so deep. And it's so hard, hey? It's not easy. Yeah. And I think from my side, like, during that time when I had decided that I mean ticket over. Yeah. Like, God was like, there was an inner battle. Like, I wanted to be over, and then God was just like, just keep on praying for her. And I remember I was reading this book, Loving People Who Are Hard to Love.
To love,
you know, because I'm like, this is hard. And at first, like, I bought that book specifically for a certain gent.
Oh.
And then God was like, no, that's not what I want to deal with. Actually, this is for TK. Yeah, like, you need to pray. And I remember it's by Joyce Meyer, and one of the quotes, she said that it's difficult to hate someone you're praying for. And that stuck with me, like, and from that day, like, I kept on praying for you, like, and that offense, like, reduced. And by the time you came and sent me that text, I was in a place where I was able to receive it. And be like, okay, I was also wrong on my side. So
I remember, actually, because the one thing that stood out from the text you sent after I sent you my text was TK, I was offended, but I stayed in offense.
Yeah.
And that's another reason people cancel each other, is that they stay in offense, and they don't address things. And I think for me in that moment, I was just like, I genuinely didn't get, and like I said, I didn't want to be right, so I didn't want to attack you with any other questions or make you feel like any worse than you were already feeling, because it's important to acknowledge that someone is already feeling so bad in that moment. So why would you want to add on by saying other things? So for me it was like, okay, she stayed in offense, she made a mistake, let's move on. You know what I'm saying? But if you're in a situation where someone doesn't recognize the value of your friendship and you choose to stay in offense, I think this message is for the viewers and the listeners. If you choose to stay in offense and you're never afforded an opportunity like we were, is that how you want to remember the end of the relationship?
Sure, that's the thing.
Okay,
so the question was, at the end of the year, people do that whole cutting off thing. I want to go into the year without these weird relationships. Do you think that's a healthy boundary? Should there be any communication in place? But I think you've already touched on that. Or do you just cut off, especially if someone has been mistreating you? How do you know that it's worth fighting for versus bye?
That's a good question. I think boundaries are very important. Like I said, boundaries ensure that we are able to sustain relationships and ensure that when that boundary is crossed, because when you're angry at someone, it's because a boundary has been crossed or a boundary has been disrespected or something has been done to make you feel like you're no longer in the safe bounds of confinement. So boundaries are important so that you can sustain a relationship with someone. It's not because you're trying to make the relationship deteriorate deliberately or whatever. So guys, please respect your friends' boundaries. Please respect them. I think in this context, is cutting someone off from social media a healthy boundary? It really depends. You know what I'm saying? I think, I may not be right, and if I'm not right, I stand to be corrected. But I feel like, personally for me, if I wouldn't be comfortable greeting you in a grocery store, there's no need for you and I to be following each other on any social media platform.
I feel you.
Why? It's why? If I just be really annoyed or just wouldn't be feeling compelled to say hi to you in a grocery store, I'd rather not have you on my social media. Sure. So that's just something I recently learned. And I think for me, in terms of whether it's healthy or not, because there are acquaintances you can have on your social media. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? We're networking.
Sure.
It's important. Some of us are running companies. So we need that network. But it doesn't mean, Hore, you allow people into your space if you're not comfortable with them. I can have you in my space, but you won't be on my close friends. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of factors. I think now to address the healthiness of it, I think can I use scripture?
Yeah.
So the Bible says that if your left hand causes you to sin, you must cut it off. Right? And I've been in situations and in friendships where, number one, the things that we valued weren't the same. And because what we value is not the same, what you will say or do will cause me to justify sin or cause me to even fall into sin. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm not a sinner, but there are just some things that I just wouldn't want to expose myself to because of someone else's values and presence in my life, because we underestimate the level of influence people have on us. Just from watching TikTok, I'm always saying bombastic side eye. Can you imagine? You know what I'm saying? So can you imagine when you are constantly in relation? You're gonna pick up some things from those people. So for me, I think in those instances, it becomes very important to have those boundaries, And now what conflicts me is, I don't have the answer for this one, but what conflicts me now is, how do I get to a point where I'm loving people even in their state, Jesus ate with the sinners, what I'm saying? yes, he didn't sin with them, but he ate with them. I don't want to get to a point where I'm like,
you're like, don't come near me.
Yeah, so I'm not. We're not. You don't advocate for self-righteousness here, but for me, it's just mostly. If I know something is going to cause me to then fall into that, I just need to distance myself from it. Sure. It's not a matter of I'm trying to be better than or anything like that. And in a situation where someone is doing something, because we all know our temptations, we all know our flaws. Yeah. Someone is sinning in a way that wouldn't tempt me, it becomes easier for me to just, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'm just gonna say it. It just becomes like, for instance, if someone's on cocaine, I don't mind being around them because I'll never bro, that's not my portion. Yes. Like, I'm not a coke girl, I'm not a drug girl. Like, I'm just like, let me love you enough to know that you can depend on me and not the substance. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Yeah. So there are some sins that I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't be around this person. It's not good for me. And then there are some other sins where it's like, okay,
it doesn't,
it doesn't really affect me. It's not a left hand that would cause me to sin. So I can be around this person and hopefully love them enough
that is so wise.
Just love them enough to hopefully lead them to Christ or find salvation through how they feel loved by me. But I think in those situations where I feel like this is beyond me and it could make me fail, I'd rather distance myself.
Sure. That's beautiful. And the last question, there's someone out there, like, they've been cancelled and they really want to cultivate the relationship and still continue with the relationship. Like, how do they go about it, and what can they do for themselves and for the other party? And how do they know that like, okay, like, the other person is not receiving this, let me just let it go?
Can I play devil's advocate? Actually, I think when I was in situations where I was being cancelled, it gave me a moment to also reflect on myself. You are the common denominator. Like, check yourself as well.
That is painful.
So there are things that you also need to work on personally, as a person, to ensure that you're not getting in situations where you are constantly overriding or disrespecting people's boundaries. And that would require internal work. My therapist always says, like, don't always focus on how much work you need to do. You also have to give yourself grace, right? And that means also being understanding and cognizant of the fact that in as much as you were wrong, the other party is also wrong. So it's a two-way street. So don't dwell on the burden of, I need to work on myself, and because bruh, like when you gonna finish? When are you gonna finish working on yourself? You know what I'm saying? So in as much as you're acknowledging your part, also acknowledge the other person's part, and it makes it easier for you to give yourself grace. And once you've given yourself that grace, you're able to extend that grace to the next person.
Wow.
Because it's difficult for you to give grace, love, joy to someone else if you don't have it yourself. So it always starts with you, and then it's an outward thing. And then when it is an outward thing, just be respectful. And if you are in a space where you want to still pursue the relationship, I think it's important to understand that it can go either way. The other person can reject you, and that's something you need to ready yourself and prepare yourself for, because rejection is really painful. It's so painful. But, in the likelihood that it goes in the manner that you hope for, then I hope the both of you are also in a space where you're able to put aside your pride and rather focus on nurturing the thing that holds you and glues you together, which is your friendship. So
sure. Such a beautiful episode. Thank you so much. I enjoyed having you.
Thanks, guys. I'm shocked we didn't cry.
I was holding them. Because I'm such an ugly crier, guys, so it wasn't gonna work. No. So where can people find you on the socials?
Ciao. So I am private on most of my accounts. And on the accounts that I'm not private, like, I don't even use them. So it's Maru, Marhoux. They can find me there on Instagram. Don't even bother on Twitter, Facebook, guys. Like, just don't bother because like there's no point. I'm not active. Instagram, just on a hiatus right now, but they can find me there. I might be coming back to YouTube.
But we want to catch up on your old videos, so
you can catch up on the old videos. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a big advocate for self-love and accepting yourself and loving yourself. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go on my channel, Tsakani Marholeni, and just, subscribe, drop a subscription there.
Come on.
And yeah, hopefully when I am in a better space, because I don't believe in putting content out there when you're not okay. If you're not okay, because people will feel it, when I am in a better space, I have so many videos I've recorded. They just need to be uploaded. I will be hitting that scene again. So Tsakani Marholeni on YouTube and Maru on every other social platform.
All right. Thank you so much. Hopefully next time we'll record again. Yeah. Hopefully enjoy it.
Hopefully we're doing it for my channel.
Love it. All right. Bye, guys.